How do you sort out the so-called jargon from real-world practices that work? Do the members of your organization find some business or technology advice utterly confusing? Welcome to Real Talk with Sam Holcman. In this program, we set the record straight, and in terms that business people and technology people can understand. Now, here is your host, Sam Holcman.
Welcome to this edition of Real Talk. I'm Sam Holcman, and the topic for today's Real Talk is comparing and contrasting the concept of a base of knowledge, a knowledge base, a body of knowledge, and the concept of a methodology or recipe, a couple of different names we're going to be using. They're quite a bit different, and there seems to be a bit of confusion out there as to these particular topics. So let me start off with the concept of a business base of knowledge or encyclopedia. Think about the term encyclopedia. What you have there is a lot of information. And some of you, depending on your age, remember Encyclopedia Britannica or the World Book Encyclopedia. Or, of course, if you go to a library, it's a base of knowledge. And if you go to a certain section of the library, you get obviously a reduced set of information. Now, that's very different than the concept of a method or methodology. And the phrase I actually like to use is the concept of a recipe. Think about a recipe. What is a recipe? It is a guided step-by-step approach. It has the ingredients. It has the process, the activities that you have to do. It has the end result that is in mind. That's the end of the recipe. In other words, what are you supposed to produce? And step-by-step guidance that is there. It's an action plan, which is very, very, very different than a base of knowledge or an encyclopedia, which is general information. And we see bases of knowledge, encyclopedias, on topics of enterprise architecture and business architecture being published all the time. Hundreds and hundreds of pages, and as a matter of fact, 1,800 pages in some cases of information that's there. The question is, do you have the information to actually do business architecture or do enterprise architecture? And that is a script. Now, once you have that, the next question you have to ask, obviously, is where did that information come from? And we'll discuss that in just a few minutes. As a matter of fact, just 30 seconds. We'll be back in 30 seconds.
So you want to advance your career and see enterprise architecture as a key component to this advancement. Or you're an enterprise architect and you want to be more effective in addressing business and technology needs. You want to create highly effective solutions that deal with the ever-evolving changes in businesses and organizations. But accumulating the knowledge and certification to do that can be a challenge. That's why EACOE created a one-of-a-kind certification workshop for enterprise architects. The workshops will teach you proven step-by-step enterprise architecture techniques that you can use for addressing continuous business and organizational change and give you the certification you need to progress in your career. Want to learn more? Then visit eacoe.org.
Welcome back. We're discussing the concept of a base of knowledge, an encyclopedia, and the concept of a method or recipe. So coming back to the recipe, which obviously I believe now you see how extremely valuable that is, it comes from what? Practicing. Practice, 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 practice. As I say in our workshops, what we want to do in our workshops is to teach you how to make a chocolate cake. And once you know how to make that chocolate cake, and you've practiced it a few times, then you can modify that. Well, let's put a little bit of cinnamon in there and see what happens. Or maybe change the type of chocolate that you have. But coming out of those activities is a game plan, a recipe, an action plan that allows you to produce something pretty good coming out of the activity. That's why you need a recipe. And that's why when you're looking at these things, yes, a base of knowledge is important. And of course, that is something that we need to provide. But additionally, and through practice, what you actually need is a recipe. So when you're looking for enterprise architecture or business architecture skilling or reskilling or advanced skilling and things like that, think about what you're actually getting at the end of the activities that you're in. Thanks again.
Thank you for tuning in to Real Talk. Be sure to join your host, Sam Holcman, again for another edition of our program. We'll have more real topics of discussion then.